Hey guys, Honest Sarcastic with the Hyperloops. So today's article is about the 7th OTK and kind of like the history, how it ended up getting created, and or at least from my part in it. Rebel Trooper probably would have some breakdown of why he loved it so much and why he kept at it. But I guess what I'm doing here is because in the article I didn't have a real breakdown of what the deck actually does. I had the list there, and it kind of just expect you guys to go read the other deck lists to figure out how the deck works for the most part. But that feels kind of not amazing because you came to us. So if you know the stuff already, don't bother listening. If you feel maybe you grab some new information, feel free to stick around. I do ask that if you guys could hit the subscribe button, it'd be greatly appreciated. In general, just because YouTube changed the whole monetization thing, and we need 1,000 subs and then 4,000 hours of video watching. The 4,000 hours of video watching, we're in the clear. We have like 16,000 in like 9 months or something ridiculous. But so yeah, if you could hit the subs, it'd be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so I'm not gonna talk about the sub stuff anymore. So 7th OTK. In general, the Guavian Sienna list pretty much builds itself upon getting, so like round 1 kind of just setting up, so like maybe hit like 2 to 4 damage, or try to get like a resource, or a couple shields to stay alive. It really kind of depends on what you're playing against. If you, let's say you start with an ancient, whether you had to pull it or whatever, like that's the more normal start, because you essentially have 4 ancients in the deck. So with that expectation, you're probably going to get one value from that, whether it be a damage or a shield or a resource. Then from the ID9 droid is where things get a bit weird, because that one's kind of luck based. Like if you hit the disrupt, so since you'd only have one, and if you don't plan on readying that round, you'd probably take a disrupt just to mess with the opponent a bit. You would questionably take a discard to do the same thing. But depending on what your other rolls are, you may find yourself just re-rolling in general. So then you just may not resolve a disrupt or a discard right away, because you want to find that focus side. The shield is more preferred than the disrupt and discard, because you are playing pretty much a 10 health deck. So getting a 10% increase in health is ginormous. But yeah, so like focus is the main thing you always want. You don't really care about the 1 damage ever, unless for some reason you have multiple ID9 droids, or you're getting like the untapped chain, so that you'll end up having multiple ID9 droids. You'll have 2, 3, whatever, 4, and now like that dice is huge. So for the most part, you'll probably forsake the base damage, the disrupt and the discard at the beginning, and you will take the base damage if you find a +3 on ancient and don't have pretty much the +2 on 7th sister, because round 1 the resource is actually just much better than the damage, usually. So because like if you hit the resource, you have pretty good odds to hit it on the Guavian, and then you could either leadership, untap, and get 4 more dice, and now your ID9 droid is 2 value instead of 1. So when you're looking for that focus or damage or shield or whatever, like the important side, you can get that too. Oh, maybe it's 2 discard, and now your opponent can't reroll, and they just rerolled into garbage. Like those are great situations. So the resource tends to be the most valuable thing on the 7th sister die, besides the 2 damage. And then the Guavian, you're pretty much looking for a 2 or the +1 resource. The 1 damage and then the +1 modified range damage you really don't care about, because normally speaking, if you win the battlefield, you're just taking yours, so they'll get shields, and it's worth 1 damage on no matter what side it's on. So why bother keeping it there, and just try to reroll for the glory. And if the glory fails, you rip it off for the Guavian ability to ping a shield off. So yeah, if you guys forget, Guavian does have an ability I believe it's just action. You can remove this character die to remove shield from a character. Might be opponent's character, not 100% sure. But anyways, so there's that now, and then Sienna is looking at, you know, the 1 damage, the +2 modified ranged, disrupt, resource. So like, there's a ton of disrupt sides in this deck. So most people won't be able to maintain a large sum of resources in like the control matches, or try to be able to cast stuff like Rise Again or pay sides very well when they're sitting there with, like, you know, Zeb, or I'm trying to think, like Kylo or the new Anakin. Like those pay sides are very hard to resolve versus 7th OTK because of the disrupt. Like, especially if they're playing like weapons and whatnot. So one second, I'm just adjusting my microphone review. So overall, like, you would like to get at least a resource, possibly 2 resources in the first round. If you can get 3, then you pretty much, no matter what you're playing against, they're going to be kind of shit afraid. Because if you go into the next round and have access to Rise Again, and you have 5 or more damage, you're clearly just going to cast it. Hopefully with an upgrade in the discard pile, or if you only had like a couple damage while you're slowly doing stuff, if they hit your guy, all of a sudden all that damage could be wiped out, and here's an ID9 droid, a Maul, a Z6, and the Maul's a complete beating. So yeah, so the precipice of the deck is that you've got, for my version, it's only 4 ways to kind of untap Price of Failure and leaderships, but it's not all built on just straight up the untap. If you like, just those weapons in general are good. Hitting the focus is fine. So when you can do, and you get multiple ID9 droids, you can go and pretty much kill somebody. It's best when you have 2 upgrades down already. If you have 3 and you get an untap, for the most part, that could just end the game right there. Especially if that, like, one of those upgrades is, let's say, like Maul's lightsaber. You're pretty much guaranteed to get that die twice, assuming, you know, they haven't removed it. And we're in standstill traffic. Yeah, look at my hair, it's beautiful, I know. Okay, so yeah, like, just Maul's lightsabers, you're gonna, like, smash people to pieces, because it's got the pretty much the value sides for damage are 2, 2, 3, and 4. So it's Z6-esque, but because the modifies, it requires another base die, which is perfectly fine, because when you're sitting there with freaking 7th, you know, rolling out 6 dice, pretty good odds to get the base. So you'll smash probably for a minimum of 10 with that in 1 untap, and you'd probably get closer to like 15 or 16 if you can find either a focus or whatever. Like, if you find a focus on, so let's say you had the 7th character die and just 1 ID9, and the upgrade ID9 finds the focus, you're pretty much representing something like an expected 7 damage before the untap, and then when you go into the untap and come back, it's probably like 13. The reason is so you would re-roll the Mauls and the 7s until you found, like, base and whatever. Hopefully, like, through the course of the round, you either realize they don't have removal or something. You focus, and you put the 7th character ID9 to a focus, and then flip one of the other ones to whatever base you needed, whether it's the 4 or 2 or whatever. Smash them in the head with it. Resolve whatever other dice. Get your untap via leadership or Price of Failure. And then when you roll out now, what's going to happen is you're going to have the 2 additional ID9 droids, but your focus die is going to be worth 3 focus. So, at bare minimum, if you just focus the 2 7th and the Maul die, that's 8. But you can actually focus one of the ID9 dice, and then like a Maul and a 7th, hit them, re-roll the Maul back out, use your 2 focus now on the Maul and let's say that the ID9 die, and then hit them again. So that would have been, just for those dice, you would have hit for 11, not counting the additional 7 sister die. So yeah, if one untap and a Maul saber with like a focus hiding somewhere, and you're just drowning teams in damage. And like, if the Maul hit the 4 or 3, then you're flipping 2 of your other dice to 2s. If your other upgrade's like an ancient, like the damage starts getting completely bonkers. So like, you could 5 a guy that's probably already low, or 5 or 6, and then kill him, get the untap, and then throw a 12 or something like that at whoever's left. The video that I posted, definitely worth watching. You see me like struggle to survive because that's kind of what the deck does, but I'm not going to spoil what's in the video. It's just kind of knowing I'd struggle to survive versus Kylo Anakin. But anyways, I'd say check that out. So yeah, Price of Failures leaderships, we get the untap, friends in low places, so we can get like free upgrades. We can find the untap faster. We could find boundless. If we hit a cheat, we can cheat back into that friends in low places that we cast, because the way that the orders go is that friends in low places has to finish before the effective cheat would go off, and cheat doesn't say choose, so there's no target. So it would be like friends in low places. Let's say we whiff, we hit like he doesn't like you, doubt, cheat. So we pick cheat. Now doubt and he doesn't like you go to the discard pile. Friends in low places finished, it goes to the discard pile. Cheat activates. Okay, now we switch. So we'll switch back into like a friends in low places. Then on our next action, we'll friends in low places again and try to go find something. So like you can daisy chain friends in low places off of like the cheats and more friends in low places, or hit like a rise again, and then like maybe you had like only a force illusion in the discard pile, and you're like, whatever, you know, I'll heal 5 and then be able to block probably like 3 more damage. So that's 8. That's almost a full 7 sister, and it'll give us a lot of time. But if you find like Maul in there with the rise again, pull out the rise, Maul hits the discard pile, and now we're looking at the full heal plus a big ass weapon at the cost of 0. Maul in particular is very great there because we can tutor up in the middle of like whatever's going on. If we got resources, get the die back out, use it, untap, reroll, like whatever's going on, because it has that power action that says if your opponent doesn't have any shields, you can roll the die back into play. So yeah, that thing's great. But for the most part, your intent is to look for rounds where you can untap via leadership, and like get stuff going. And then if things are looking good, you price a failure. I've price a failure in round 1 before, just to get the additional like shields, resources, like 2 or 3 damage, because there are times like that Guavian die is only worth 1 die. Getting the untap, assuming that you played a round 1 upgrade, is worth 4 dice. So that's about 4 value plus the additional 1 on the ID9. So we're looking at about 5 values worth. And if we're lucky enough to hit with the focus side, then because like on a reroll, if we reroll twice, we're 54% to find the focus side. Actually, it's a little higher because the initial roll in theory would also count that time. So like if we only pitched once to a reroll, we counted as 2. It'd be 54% to find the focus side, and like that's great. Like we'll take that. Or sorry, 51%. I lied. My math was terrible there. So like 1 and 2 times you do it, you hit it, and if you pitch another reroll, like you get another 49, 3 10s, so another 15, so 65%. And like you'd be pretty content with some other sides as well. So like the discard would screw the opponent over, so you can continue to do whatever you're doing, like get your 3 and then the 2, and then they smash the guy for 5 or whatever, or get like a resource or 2, then maybe trigger a boundless to then be able to like leadership into another untap and hit for like crazy. Like there's a lot of like weird chains you can end up doing via that. Set up your hand for like next subsequent rounds. So it's really about the untap. The friends in low places, the rise, the cheat are all there to redo your combo pieces, and like just grab what you need. You can cheat back a lightsaber pull if you need to find ancient to either survive or get that additional upgrade out. So that's been a great like addition to the deck. But I'd say round 3 is usually where the game ends, assuming you haven't been getting drowned out by damage. Because like let's say you ancient, get hit for a lot, then you have to put ancient on the bottom, and then next round like you're doing it again and trying to survive, and then like you finally maybe squeak a kill because you've dealt damage over the course of the game. Like then like round 4 is probably where you win. But I'd say round 4 is about the end. Normally, round 3 is probably where you end up casting Rise again, or just going like for a combo kill. So it's really based on like how much damage or how much control your opponent can like put on you. It's not the easiest of decks to play, apparently. I was playing at a crap ton and it felt very easy to me, but I've also played a whole lot of combo in my CCG career, I guess. A lot of like tendrils and like Grimlong decks in Magic the Gathering, and that's really what you're looking at, because you're pretty much counting damage every round. Like, all right, how much damage can I get here? Do I try to mini combo off to try to generate resources and a small bit of damage? And like the big thing here is that because we draw till 5 at the beginning of each round, it's so much smoother to try to play control in this game. I mean, combo in this game, because in most other games you're looking to figure how you draw cards in general, and this game easily gives you that. So you just have to use your resources to the best of your ability. But so yeah, leaderships, price failures to get the untaps, and building up more ID9 dice. I don't run the feints because you kind of have to push all in, I guess, when you do the feint. Like when you feint, your opponent knows now, like, you're going to attempt to do like untap whatever. So if you're trying to mask it, you kind of don't feint at the beginning. You would have to tap, do whatever, do some stuff. Then like hopefully they claim. Now you untap with like a leadership or a price of failure. Now you feint. Now you re-roll back in. And like that one resource differential, if you miss time, like like kind of like the freebie activation, could be the difference between being able to rise again and not play rise again. Like, you don't want to go like round 1 leadership, round 1 feint, because you have to play your 2-drop. So unless you're Sienna activated, you're not going to have that extra resource there. So like, okay, maybe you set up into round 2, and it's really not, it's not bad. It's just not the way I'd prefer. I'd rather have those 2 slots be more defense or more combo. Actually, it's not more combo, but more like free combo or something. Or make consistency so that I can survive better with rise agains. So that's kind of why they got switched into like lightsaber pulls and or cheat, depending on where you followed like the version, because I had originally cut a cheat and a feint for 2 lightsaber pulls because I didn't really like either one of them. But then I've often found myself being able to use cheat to go like rip back boundless, or rip back like so like I can like round 1 leadership if I got the extra resource, do whatever, cheat the leadership back, either that round or in the next round, then, you know, go do leadership again, and trading out 1 die resource and a card for 4 dice usually worked very well in my favor. But for the most part, like, that's it. Like, it's really cut and dry. You go look for particular cards, the other stuff kind of just builds around it or tries to keep you alive, and then you just price of failure, leadership, maul, ancient, and like focus in the damage and smash them to pieces. Hitting an ID9 droid as your first upgrade is a little wonky because it gives you more damage potential as well as control, but it doesn't give you any sort of I guess kind of like safety fallback plan, because the ancient you could just throw on the bottom if it's looking like someone might be able to like randomly kill you. So like, you're like, alright, this ancient's here, cool, I essentially have 12 health, you know, I'll get like my damage or resource, or, you know, maybe even be able to get that +3 to smash them hard. Whereas the ID9 droid, you're like, oh, well, I can discard 2 cards, or disrupt 2 of your resources, or 2 shields, or like fix my dice. The fix my dice one's always friggin' amazing. But do you really want to resolve 2 melee? Because it's not going to do anything. Like, damage, when you do damage, it doesn't actually do anything in most situations until you've killed the character. Once you've killed the character, all the damage that added up turned into like the greatest removal that ever existed. But prior to that, if you have them at less than half, there shouldn't really be a change in play. Once you've gotten them to half and you could like roll out and get a kill, then things change, because you kind of dictate where their actions are going to go. They're probably going to roll out immediately, that character. They may not cast an upgrade on that character right away, so like they're going to hold back a bit. So now when you activate, if you show like disrupt, now they're like, crap, okay, do they cast their thing or do they let you disrupt their resources? Because if you disrupt their resources, they're not going to be able to play what they wanted. So like now they just may not resolve a die, so they'll go, okay, I'll play this card. So now you're kind of getting a thing where you're controlling their rounds, which is kind of what happens with aggro decks in general. Because, so like, if they have the battlefield and their Kylo 2 is taking 7 damage, and you roll out and you're showing 5, or sorry, like, if they roll out, then you roll out and you're showing 5, now it's like, alright, well, they're going to cast removal there if they have removal, unless they want to just resolve whatever die, because they feel it's more beneficial that way. If they resolve the die, you take the kill, or at least figure out what they're attempting to do before you take the kill, like if there's a redeploy to switch, blah, blah, blah. And kind of go from there, but you're getting to dictate actions because you've dealt damage. So, sure, dealing 2 or 3 damage in the first round itself doesn't have any addition to that. But in the second round, if you dealt 3 or 4 more, or you could have just, you know, decided to untap and go for the kill, it's very great. But like in that situation, if you use, you know, 3 of your dice to get 2 damage and a shield, you really haven't gotten anywhere, because the next round, the odds of you being able to, like, you know, smack out the 8 without the combo just isn't happening. So it's just like, alright, well, maybe you should have re-rolled this into shield or resource, or just try to get more damage in general. So, like, it depends. Sometimes you just want to take whatever you got and go into the next round, and sometimes you want to, like, try to play around removal, but the removal is going to come anyways, so you might as well just get them, like, make them use it there, use whatever resources or cards in hand so they don't get, like, additional rerolls, or go into the next round with, you know, a full stack of removal, so now you're trying to combo out, but there's just too much removal. So I've kind of just talked about the deck a whole bunch, and I really don't know how much is useful, how much I've just kind of, like, rambled. But hopefully it was useful enough. And just watch the video. You should probably learn some stuff from it, or just see how crazy that can be at times and how fearful it needs to be as I'm playing it. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Hyperloop out. You guys have a great day. Deuces.